It's been a little bit more than an entire year since I've made a total drama video, so you know what that means. Let's shoot for... Wait, no. Hold on. I did this exact same bit in my last video. Follow my friend on TikTok. I don't have one because I'm over the age of an adult, but he'll appreciate it. If you want to know how to pick up girls the right way, go there. Never think the sky's the limit. And speaking of Sky, that's the character I'm here to talk about. I promise I'm getting better at these segues. Yes, Sky, the aspiring Olympian of Kree descent. Quite a title, but given the title of this video, it's not necessarily going to be like Brick's video and basically praising him for getting hurt and being funny, but more of an overview and trying to understand Sky. Because when I was thinking of doing more total drama, without a doubt the first video that came to mind that I really wanted to do was a video on Sky. And the reason being is because around that time, so around 2 years ago, there was just this surge of hate for Sky that I have never seen before. Previously, many people just wrote her off as boring, okay, and the one that always got tossed around, Diet Zoe. So people didn't really pay too much attention to her, but then some of them turned up that hate meter all the way up. And I didn't really get it. Did someone on YouTube say they didn't like Pakuteu and Sky specifically? Were the Dave fans rallying together? I don't know, but I finally got around to rewatching all of Pakuteu to refresh my mind and to take a closer look at Sky's action. Because by now, the whole hate wave has definitely died down. Now would be the best time to get back into the game, I guess. And if I'm being honest, yeah, I know I haven't praised Sky too often or really at all, but I've never been too harsh to her to any degree. I've just also thought of her being okay at best. But my thoughts of her have definitely changed. And from watching the season again, yeah, it's changed and gotten better for her. Though my opinion of the entire season itself, not changing too much, of what I think being overall weak in comparison to the other seasons. There are still some okay and good things from it, like some characters, some were pretty good. Jasmine, Sean, Ella, Topher and his story kind of, Scarlet, well, before this episode, and Sky, of course. The island being an artificial one is actually a cool concept that was handled pretty well in terms of pacing, and that's kind of about it. Now, just because you get 4 to 5 answers right out of 10 doesn't necessarily mean that you've passed, and that's basically Pakuteu. And that's where Sky is home to. But she ends up being one of the better contestants in the season, evident from the fact that she was a finalist. So that adds something to her, which is the first thing I want to address about Sky and what a good number of people say of calling her a boring character. I can kind of understand that at first glance or when you're binging through the season. Sky doesn't stick out too much with her design or personality, quite frankly, but that's the point and a good thing in this season, if anything, because I think most of us can agree that a problem with most of the characters in Pakuteu was that they were a bit too gimmicky. It's almost as if they thought, well, we basically need cannon fodder for the first couple of episodes, so let's not really give those characters a personality, or just give them a dumb joke or gag that's hopefully not overused or annoying. A bit of a slip up on that part, oops. Now, not every character was given an irritating trait, but yeah, this time around, we got ourselves a handful of class clowns, and they're not funny. Sky in this case is definitely made to be one of, if not the most normal contestant in this season. She is the straight girl, similar to Dave for the time being the straight man. Both of them trying to deal with everyone else's bullshit and balance out the weirdness. Other seasons have had these types of characters before. First generation was that of Bridget, Jeff, Trent, in Island specifically, and jumping ahead, Devin and Carrie are rather in a similar boat, just normal people being themselves as much as they can. So yeah, sure, Sky's not jumping off the walls every time she's on screen with some lame-ass shtick. That's honestly better than just having another one of those characters that's only used for a stupid joke that never worked in the first place. Sky's normal, but has more to offer that's not painful. That's the point. Which leads me to question something. Where does the nickname of Diet Zoe come from? The use of this moniker probably isn't used too much to this day, but I know a good number of people only saw Sky as that. Well, that's just flat out wrong, and here's why, as well as going over the things she is properly known for.
Ha! He just sawed away the only branch you could possibly reach!
You do know what gymnastics are, right?
Oh, man!
Oh, well, she's Diet Zoe because she's athletic, and Zoe was the same way.
You mean Commando Zoe, which only lasted 2 episodes in Revenge, and then within All-Star she wasn't really known as an athletic girl. She kept falling into the Princess Peach category of always needing to be saved. Even with Sky having the epithet The Athlete, she doesn't brag about being a gymnast or constantly and only talks about her dream of being an Olympian. It gets shown and brought up every now and then. That's it. A perfect amount to remind you and not forget.
Okay, well, most of the season, her time is spent to just talking to a guy.
Yeah, because apparently only Mike and Zoe had a relationship in the whole series, and not any of these other characters here on screen before and after. But okay, what do I know, right? I can at least tell you that Sky didn't think too much of Dave until a few episodes in, and of course having trouble whether or not she wanted to date him in the first place. Zoe, on the other hand, the second she is on screen, it's already all about Mike. Speaking of romance, let's give Sky some credit as well. She is one of the very few, if not the only character I can think of right now that didn't have a friendship ruin where both parties found out that they liked the same person. She is very nice to Ella as much as she could be, similar to Jasmine always trying to help Sammy on her team. And when Ella left, she still considered Sky a friend. How heartwarming. Sky always tried her best to keep herself and her team on track. She's friendly to pretty much everyone. Her first scene in the entire series is offering gum to someone that she doesn't even know the name to. Yeah, she's an awful person. Yeah, she's nice. Oh no. I got a little off track. Anyways, being similar to Zoe? Yeah, no, not even close. Moving along, allow me to get this double kill of the notions of people also saying that she's a Mary Sue and has bad sportsmanship. Well, if you said yes to both of these, you've literally contradicted yourself. Because if she was a Mary Sue, then she would have been loved by everyone and not have any enemies and not a single flaw to her character with what she does. Not the case, because later on Dave definitely says otherwise, as well as not many other members on the island not really caring for her too much. And speaking for the team, even with her athletic prowess, that doesn't guarantee her team the win. Yeah, it's held, but it's never been a winning factor too much for them or herself sometimes, in terms of competition and character. So it's not like she's this perfect figure walking around with no issues, because yeah, she has a flaw or two. The biggest one that many point out, for whatever reason out of all things, is her being upset that she was about to lose the $1 million. Those who have seen or remember it will immediately think, well, what happened to all that sportsmanship she kept talking about, and now she's upset about losing? Ugh, this doesn't make any sense. That helps the character, actually. She was literally 10 steps away from potentially winning the whole season, and that just gets taken away from her almost. Anyone would have been pissed off. Plus, we've seen countless times from characters who are of the athletic type who don't take losing too lightly. Like with Lightning from Revenge. You guys like him, right? He's stupid, he's funny, that's why you laugh. In the second damn episode, he's so upfront about how he hates being on the losing team. And we've seen this from characters who aren't even into sports. Yeah, it's not pretty, and it's been shown here and there before this moment that Sky's rather competitive, of course. Not to the point where it's annoying, however, she won't really be all that happy if she loses. So, darn, now she has a flaw like most other characters. I guess she's the worst in this case. Might as well just write her to be a Mary Sue instead. Oh wait, can't let you do that, Star Fox, because that would be worse. Now we arrive at the biggest thing when it comes to Sky's character, Dave. Oh boy, this is something. I've already done my video on Dave years ago, and can say that my stance has remained rather staunch. He's entirely fine, I guess. He had his ups and downs, but was overall fine until episode 9. After that, it's a bit downhill, because with that episode and the finale, he keeps making a pretty bad case for himself alone, but I know nowadays fans aren't that harsh to him, at least to what I've been seeing, probably understanding that he's not only those 2 episodes that I just mentioned, and that there was more before all of that. I've covered Dave's point of view, and now it's time that I look at it from Sky's. This is another flaw to her character. Her being uncertain about a lot of things, mostly dealing with Dave. Again, at first, she was just trying to keep her team together and make sure people are performing at 100% or anything close. And she does admit that she likes Dave, but winning is more important to her, so she is perpetually fighting these feelings for him. And it gets harder and harder when other people around her sometimes make the decisions for her, like with Dave not hearing more about what Sky had to say, or with Jasmine pressuring her a lot to cut ties with him and only think about winning and nothing more. So yeah, screw him over. However, it all ultimately backfires with the super wild card that is Chris in the finale, where the world is essentially against Sky, gets the last person she wants as a partner, and then Chris reveals private information. Now, quite frankly, for Sky's case, she should have dumped her boyfriend even before auditioning, if that was her plan all along, but that ended up screwing her up eventually. Sky for sure had a tough time in the finale. The best duo that there was in the whole season are her opponents, and she's stuck with the last person who is extremely fickle with his actions. If that's not the best example of the odds are stacked against you, I don't know what is. Hell, you can even tell that in the season finale, it kind of favors Sean having a more decent ending compared to Sky, because no matter what, he's fine with Jasmine. Sky basically needs to win to have a satisfying ending. It's literally the best she could get. Dave is a bit of a lost cause, unfortunately, at this point. And for sure, both of them really needed to have proper closure. I'm not even really going to say who's more in the wrong. They both had their faults here. Dave really needed to slow things down and be less dramatic, as fitting as it would be for the show, and Sky to be less hesitant in her choices. So with all of that in mind, we probably have the most misunderstood character in the entire series. Now mind you, I'm not saying that Sky's the best character or even my personal favorite. No. But a character that has had a lot of unjustified hate or things that are just plain wrong when you just rewatch the season one more time. And I mean really rewatch it, especially with whatever people try to compare her to. It just doesn't make any sense. I even had some trouble coming up with the proper title for this video because I easily could have named it something like Sky, the perfectly flawed character, but that kind of comes off like an oxymoron. So yeah, misunderstood is better, and I think it's from the fact that Sky really is more than just a quote-unquote boring character. If anything, she's probably the most realistic and normal character in the whole series. Sky is someone that has many things that make her a good character. A gymnast and someone that actually had skill to her name, yet never bragged about it or was only known for that, and she still shot for the stars of being at the Olympics. Someone who was always trying to be friends with everyone, and even put her own pride aside at times to better herself and the people around her, and yet still has a few oddities and flaws that don't make her too plain or a so-called Mary Sue. She's just Sky, the aspiring Olympian of Cree descent.
Did I? Yes! I won!
She is definitely more than a 6.5. Definitely gearing more towards a 7.5. Maybe the strongest 8 that there could be. So yeah, this was a pretty hefty video, and I really wanted to do this for a long time, but yep, as it usually goes, that is the Sky video. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know what to do with all the links that I provide and everything of the sort. Thank you for watching, that's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do. Bye.